This is the Extra Point Podcast from Arizona's family.
Well, the college football world, the college sports world is changing by the day. What's it going to look like this time next year? This time the new year rolls around. This time the Fiesta Bowl rolls around in 2023, 2024. So let's talk to Erik Moses now, who zooms in, our Fiesta Bowl executive director, the CEO, joins us here on the Extra Point Podcast. First of all, how are you? And second of all, is your head spinning from all the news that we've had to digest here the past 2 weeks?
Yeah, I've been living on spreadsheets that we need to keep track of what the heck is going on in college football these days. So I'm a little tired from following all of the news that has been breaking what seems like daily over the last several weeks.
All right, so I think I still have it right, but who is technically contractually going to your bowl game? How does that work? Who will we get this year, and who will we get in years to come?
So we don't have contractual tie-ins. You know, we're part of the college football playoff system, and as a result of that, those teams are assigned to the various bowl games that participate in the playoff, even in years like this year when we're not part of the playoff. So we will have two nationally ranked teams this year, probably one from the Power Five, if you will, or now Power 4.5, maybe, depending on how you look at what's happened to the Pac-12, and then another team. It could end up being two Power 5 ranked teams, but yeah, we don't have contractual ties in that way.
Yeah, I keep catching myself, and there's a million different pitfalls now as you're trying to discuss the tradition of college football and how much it is changing. When you look at how much it is changing, do you feel like this is good for the sport going forward, or are there any reservations at how things are changing?
Well, you know, I think one of the great things about the Fiesta Bowl historically has been the matchups that you get to see. Oftentimes teams that have never played each other or that don't normally play each other. And so not having the conference ties is something that's worked out really well for us. We think that change is inevitable. I remember when the Big East had football in it, and now it's just a basketball conference. You know, I remember when Maryland was in the ACC and Rutgers, when I was growing up in New Jersey, played in the Big East. And so change is inevitable. I think we won't understand the full import of this change until it slows down or comes to a stop. And whether that's two mega conferences, kind of AFC, NFC style conferences, or whether that's four or three, I'm not certain. I know that the administrators and college chancellors and presidents are trying to figure out how do we ensure that young people have an opportunity to get the educations that they deserve, but also to live a full kind of college experience. And that includes what they do athletically, and it includes what they do on campus, in the classroom, in the meeting room, and hopefully out in the communities like ours when they come here to play in our games.
So what do you think the college football world looks like when the Fiesta Bowl 2024, 2025 rolls around? We've got our first year of kind of these new conferences, Arizona State, Arizona going to the Big 12. What sort of matchup do you think you would get that first year after the 2024-2025 regular season?
Well, as you know, in 2024, I think I've talked about before, is the year of the Fiesta Bowl. So this year's Fiesta Bowl is January 1st, 2024.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So you have two in 2024? Is that right? You're gonna have two.
We're going for two. We're going to do a little doubleheader. Going for two. You start and end your year with the Fiesta Bowl. And so for that second one, if you will, in 2024, we will be the very first quarterfinal in CFP history. And then the other three quarterfinals will follow us, but we'll be the very first one. And so we know we're going to have a team that has essentially gotten a bye, one of the top six rated teams, and then a team that has won a first round game. So we think that's going to be exciting, not only because it's the first one, but also because we'll be able to hype up that matchup a little bit more, knowing the kind of home team, if you will, but then having just seen the new team coming off a win in a first round game that'll be played on a college campus somewhere.
Well, when and you look at, we got to get through this year first. You look at just the feel in college football, and you're talking about it all day. You're talking to people on campuses. What is the feeling right now about college football across the country?
I think there's a lot of excitement about it and about the game itself. I mean, if you look at the Pac-12, despite everything that has happened to them, you've got some of the best quarterbacks and arguably the best quarterbacks in the country located in that conference. And so I think the gameplay is going to be great this year. I think there's a lot of excitement for how the sport may grow as a result of having its postseason become more of a tournament as opposed to just 2 games. But there's certainly uncertainty. And I think all of us who are part of this business and this industry are waiting for the musical chairs to stop so we can figure out how to make the sport that so many people love and cherish the best it can possibly be for all of the stakeholders, the student athletes, the fans, the alumni, and the communities that host these games.
You know, I had a thought the other day. It's kind of a wild thought, but we have traditionally had the 2 bowl games out here. Any chance our other bowl game at Chase Field ends up as part of the playoff as well? What becomes of that game, you feel like, going forward?
Hard to say, but we think we're in a very good position having the contractual ties in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl with the Big 12 and the Big 10. 2 conferences that look like they are very well positioned for the future. Having added new teams and looking really strong there and innovative and creative about how they're going to proceed in the future. So we feel very, very fortunate to have a tie with both of those conferences for the Guaranteed Rate Bowl.
What are your other peers at different bowl games? What are they saying about the future of college football here, the tournament, and how they will, I guess, try to position their own games to try to compete and be that top tier in the top tier of bowl games going forward?
You know, I think those of us that are fortunate enough to run New Year's Six games are fortunate and happy that we're part of the college football playoff and will continue to be and will be a big part of that playoff, that expanded playoff going forward. And looking to ensure that what fans can expect, whether they're at the Fiesta Bowl, the peach, rose, sugar, cotton, orange, is a minimum level, if you will, of an experience. And that's going to be a very high experience because we're representing the highest level of college football. And so I think we're all excited about what the future can bring, but we're all a little bit, I don't want to say nervous, but certainly a little bit interested in seeing where things stop. And whether that's NIL and its effects on the game and on players and their participation in games, or whether that's transfer portal or any of the number of other factors that are affecting the game right now, we want things, I think we're all in agreement, we want things to slow down a little bit so we can figure out how to ensure that the experience is everything that people have come to know and love about college football.
Do you think it slows down? It does seem like there might be some more conference realignment lurking out there. Do you have a feeling one way or another?
Yeah, my gut says that we aren't finished. I think we're all keeping an eye on the ACC to see what happens there. We know that there's been some grumbling amongst teams, in particular Florida State, about the revenue splits in that conference, and maybe the desire to look around to see if they can get a better deal or a bigger share of revenues from a media deal. And so I think until those voices quiet down and we see some stability in the ACC, I think we're all kind of waiting for the next shoe to fall.
And when it seems like, universities, bowl games are all kind of taking directives from television, and television's kind of calling the shots here and making making all the different matchups. And I mean, as a Texas fan, I'm super excited for them to join the SEC. I'm not going to predict them winning the league. I think it's just going to be, you're just going to get beat up every week with some of these amazing matchups, but it's going to be hard to really run the table there. But as you're all kind of waiting for television to make the decisions, what sort of input do you feel like the universities, the bowl games get here when it comes to, the matchups they want to see and just hearing all of the different, elements that go into this as far as safety goes and as far as the student experience and the fan experience goes?
Well, I think it's ultimately up to the conferences and the university presidents and chancellors to determine how the game gets played. On one hand, they're all seeking bigger dollars and bigger share of the media dollars that are out there, while also trying to balance the student athlete experience and the travel necessary to compete in what seems to be becoming national conferences rather than regional based conferences. And so all of that, I think, has to be balanced as we look towards the future. But the game and the state of the game and the game play and what we're seeing on the field is probably as good as it has been ever, and certainly in a long time. And so we're seeing that reflected in ratings, and we're seeing that reflected in the interest around the game. But some stability, I think, would be appreciated by all of us.
No, certainly, and it's you want to celebrate the sport and all the craziness. It will be fun to celebrate the sport at the Fiesta Bowl, and of course, you got the kickoff luncheon coming up here in the Valley of the Sun this month. So, how can people go about being a part of that? And tell us about this year's guest speaker, one of my favorites.
Oh, we're super excited about having Desmond Howard as our keynote speaker for the Arizona Bank and Trust Fiesta Bowl kickoff luncheon on August 22nd over at the Biltmore Resort. Folks can go on our website, fiestabowl.org, to secure tables for that event. Desmond's going to be great. As you well know, Heisman Trophy winner, one of 4 people to win the Heisman Trophy and be Super Bowl MVP, and then parlayed his retirement career into being someone who we look to hear from every week during college football season on College Game Day. And so Desmond has not only his own stories about being a highly rated player coming out of high school, going to one of the best programs in the country with Michigan, and then on to the NFL, but also now continues to live, eat, sleep, and breathe college football for ESPN. And so we are looking forward to some great stories and spending that time with him, as well as the business and civic leaders from across the Valley and across the state who show up to celebrate college football season getting started again.
What's the over-under on number of pictures Desmond Howard is asked to take people doing Heisman Trophy poses with him? If I get close to him, I might have to make that request.
Look, I don't know if I can count that high, but I think it's going to be a pretty big number. I'm not certain that Desmond has any interest in hitting that pose anymore. I think he has told us that he's officially retired that, but I don't think he'll object to if you want to bust a move and hit that pose next to him. I don't think he'll object to that.
Yeah, there were no Heismans being won in 1995 when I was trying to run out routes in Houston, Texas. What's your athletic background, by the way? Were you a football player? What was your sport of choice?
I was only decent in baseball. I played baseball through high school. I did play football from kind of Pop Warner until freshman year of high school, when I noticed that all the other kids were getting bigger and liked going head on and hitting in that way. And I was neither getting bigger nor did I enjoy that kind of contact. So decided football wasn't for me anymore, and basketball kind of stopped around middle school again, when being vertically challenged a little bit here wasn't going to help me to be a good hoops player.
Well, do you have a thought on our baseball team? Because it's been a really long month. Are you a pitcher? Can we bring you out of the bullpen?
Hardly. This arm was never that great, but it's probably string cheese now. Look, I've got my fingers and toes crossed for the D-backs to get back to their winning ways and make it into the playoffs. They started off so strong, and I've been to 3 or 4 games this season, and they've looked great, and they're an exciting team, and I'm excited to follow them. I just think they've got to get their mojo back and shake whatever has attacked them recently, shake it off and get back to their winning ways. And I know we all hope in the Valley that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, certainly. And it's so much fun, the crossover in the Valley, as somebody's, kind of knee deep in one sport and can kind of, get involved and really buy into another team. And I think the Diamondbacks captured everybody's attention. So hopefully they can get it back on the winning track on Friday. And, of course, you got the Fiesta Bowl luncheon, another huge – we're a big event sports town. That's coming up later this month. And go on the Fiesta Bowl's website. You can, get involved there. What else do you have going on this fall? There's other charity events going on that people can get involved in with the Fiesta Bowl. It's more than just a game, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And our big one for the fall is the PNC Par 3 tournament that we do over at Mountain Shadows every year. Probably the best and most exciting golf tournament in the Valley. Lots and lots of great prizes to be won. We have $1 million hole-in-one opportunity. for people to win, great prizes there, and it's just a really fun outing. And if you like to get out there and swing the sticks, but maybe don't want to spend your entire day out there in a tournament, playing a par 3 course means you can get in and out pretty quickly, or make your way more quickly to the 19th hole and enjoy some adult beverages and other kinds of refreshments there while other folks are out playing and completing their round. So looking forward to that very much, and definitely looking forward to getting involved here with some of the youth football efforts in the Valley, ensuring that we're plugging in with that community and making certain that people are celebrating football at all levels in the Valley throughout the year, whether it's youth, high school, certainly college, and our professional team as well. So we are football people, and we're going to be carrying that banner from now and into the future for a very long time.
Yeah, you can feel the passion for it coming through our screen right now. So, hey, thanks so much for joining us. Look forward to hopefully talking to you more as the football season goes along. And I'm not going to ask you for your first bowl projection yet. Let's wait until we see one game, and then we'll hit you up on that. Does that work?
Well, you're a gentleman for giving me one game in. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm a much better prognosticator after at least one game in this season.
Oh, great. Well, have a great day. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, man. See you soon.
The Extra Point Podcast is a production of 3TV, CBS5, and azfamily.com in Phoenix, Arizona.